Hi there, thanks for tuning in. We're here to talk about how you build trust in a search process. Now, looking at the start of the search process, when you're looking to instruct your agency, what criteria can you actually use to best assess them? I would be looking at the following. First of all, are they able to demonstrate good market knowledge? Do they have a track record that they can point to within this given space or in delivering to the firm within which you work? Do they have a robust and fair process? Do they come with any referrals or internal reference points that can be used to better assess their credentials? Are they able to demonstrate good judgment in the meeting and an insightful, thoughtful approach? And lastly, are their terms of business fair and point to a long-term working relationship? Let's assume these criteria are all met and you're happy to go ahead with the instruction. What is the agent actually there to do? Well, they become your search partner. So they're there to inform you along the way. They're there to help you with the selection process, which is absolutely vital to the search process itself. They're there to act as a mouthpiece in the market. We're going on the basis here that not all candidates are going to want to engage, and also not all candidates are going to ultimately get the role. Therefore, that marketing piece and that brand building piece is actually a key part of the value add of a search process. And lastly, they're there to be an extension of the firm. The first interaction that any candidate will have will be with the agent. They'll form judgments based on the decision who you've instructed. Those judgments will affect the candidate's decision to engage in the process or not. So therefore, acting as an extension of the firm, conducting yourself in a professional manner is absolutely vital. Let's now look at the latter part of the process when we hit the negotiation around compensation. Hopefully a very good process will have been run and the agent is operating from a position of trust with the client and the candidate. I think at this point the agent is uniquely well placed to manage the negotiation for both sides because they have been there since the start of the process. They understand the needs and wants and the motivations from each side. And they're also ultimately there to help facilitate the deal happening. Now, the agent is paid by the client, so the candidate might have a default position that is they're acting in the client's best interest. Now, this is something that I think is really important for clients to be aware of when trying to understand what is the role the agent is doing and trusting them to do that correctly. I'll give you two examples. The first one is, let's assume a candidate joins and they've been undercompensated, so they didn't negotiate hard enough. 2 years down the track, candidates are a success within the business and everybody's happy, but for the fact that they feel like they were ultimately shortchanged at the start of the process. This is going to have a bearing on the candidate's future progress within the firm and feeling towards the firm. Now let's assume the candidate has over-negotiated their position. We call this entering a business with a target on your back. Now that might be slightly unfair, but if you enter a business on a very high compensation relative to what you're able to bring, that can create an issue 2 years down the line, and you don't want to have a target on your back. Now, the agent is aware of these two crucial differences, and ultimately, if we reflect back to the start of the process and look at some of the key points, does the agency run a strong and robust, fair process? Do they have good internal referrals and reference points? Are they able to demonstrate good judgment? If you selected them on these criteria, you should be able to trust them at this point in the process. Equally, the candidate needs to have that same level of trust with the agent so that the agent can best advise the candidate and the client. Lastly, it's also absolutely fundamental that the agent is able to build this same position of trust with the client and with the candidate. And by that, what I mean is that the agent can trust the client is going to deliver on their promises, that they're going to trust in the client's information when it comes to talking about positioning of compensation and these sorts of dynamics and a range of other factors, because that will ultimately mean that the agent is best able to inform the candidate and hopefully deliver to the search process. Now, if you like this content, please remember to follow us. There'll be more content in the future. And equally, if you have any questions or real life examples of the subject that we're talking about here today, trust, it would be great to hear from you. Thanks very much.